One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody, on a Thursday evening. I love Thursdays because that means Friday's tomorrow, and I only do one show on Friday, so I can relax. Not that I need to get away from you guys or anything, but it's tough, especially with traveling and going back and forth and everything. 2 shows is a lot, but I'm here nonetheless. Let me just tell you, if no one else has told you today, prosperity has arrived. Now, it may not, knocked on your door, may not have come to your doorstep, but it's there for you. It is now there for you. Some amazing stuff happened today. Been telling you, I don't know how much more I can scream about it and let you know what has happened. I don't know why other people don't talk about it, but OMG, this is effing fantastic. What am I talking about? Here, let me show you.
That we've been following. Emily Wilkins has the story. Hi, Emily. Hey, Morgan. Well, the House has now passed all 3 of those crypto bills, the one on market structure that will go to the Senate, the one on banning the central bank digital currency that will also go to the Senate, and, of course, the one on stablecoins. And that one is headed to the White House tomorrow to President Trump's desk. We're already hearing that there is expected to be a ceremony to sign it. That one is a first-of-the-kind rules of the road bill for stablecoins. And, of course, this comes as the crypto industry has long lobbied for these. You saw them sink almost $200 million into lawmakers' campaigns in the 2024 election in hopes of moving these bills. And you've already heard them announce that they have $141 million so far for the upcoming midterms. And they do it in a bipartisan manner, building coalitions. And you can see today it is paid off for them. Of course, we're going to have to continue to follow that market structure bill as it goes to the Senate. That is the one that a lot of these crypto groups tell me is really key for them to get passed. But today they're celebrating stablecoin as a win and with strong bipartisan support for both the stablecoin and the market structure bill.
So, what does all this mean for you? It means you can make a whole lot of money. And I'm not ashamed of saying it. I know there's some people in here who are begun to play in crypto, and there's even some advanced people in here who are playing, I won't even say playing, are working in crypto, XRP, things of these natures that you may not be all that aware of, but you need to begin making yourself aware of it. Let me give you a simple analogy. If you knew prior to, I don't know, DVRs coming out, and you, I guess, had invested in Blockbuster, would you not wanted to know, hey, what's this thing called a DVR? If you, I don't know, maybe had looked at doing something with fax machine, and then all of a sudden this thing called email comes along. There are very, very few opportunities when you can get in on the front end of something that is going to change the way people do business. I love movies. You know, I always have movie references. There's a movie called OPM with Danny DeVito, and he plays Larry the Liquidator. And Larry the Liquidator looks at a company that's crappy, but it's still alive, and it has assets, and he liquidates those assets, so that he can do other things with it. And one of the lines in that movie was, he said to the people, the stockholders, you're like, I'm here to make you money. That's why you buy stock. That's why you have a 401k, right? Yes, that's why you have a 401k. That's what he was there for. That's what this is here for you. You do not want to be, as the movie said, the last person selling buggy whips. Because the last person selling buggy whips probably was the one who survived and sold the hell out of buggy whips and probably had the best buggy whip you could find anywhere, as Larry the Liquidator said. But then the reason he was hanging on to the buggy whips is because he didn't see and didn't understand what this thing called an automobile was going to do. And so he was, whoever they were the last buggy whip company. And I've always remembered that line because it struck. Everybody who's on this train doesn't realize there's a faster one coming, and no matter how good you are at doing this, once that is usurped, once the buggy whips became extinct, and then all of a sudden now we've got cars, doesn't matter how good you were at this. It doesn't really matter. And so we're about to see something, and I know a lot of people go like this, and they don't, because it's new. It's completely new. But it is going to change the way you conduct and transact business and retail. Down here in Florida, Ron DeSantis has already made Bitcoin, cryptocurrency per se, legal tender. You could go into a supermarket if once they get the terminals wired, there's a whole nother business. People are going to have to figure out how to transact when you go to the grocery store. All the code, everything has to be changed so that somebody could walk up with a crypto wallet or however they're going to come up with the way to pay it, and you could use crypto to pay it. And this thing had all kinds of hurdles. People were afraid. People thought it was giving the government, control of their money, and they got it all worked out, and it passed today. So let me give you a Reader's Digest condensed version of what happened. It says, breaking, House passes Genius Act to regulate stablecoins. The U.S. House just approved the Genius Act, a major bill focused on stablecoin regulation. This legislation creates a federal framework for issuing and managing stablecoins, aiming to reduce risk while giving clear oversight to financial regulators. It's a key step behind national crypto rules, following closely behind the Clarity Act on broader digital asset regulations. So there's a whole lot of terms in there that I could probably spend the next hour just talking to you about those terms. Stablecoins. The Clarity Act. What does it all mean? Well, we could have another video and dive into it, or you can begin looking that stuff up yourself because it is extremely, extremely important. Here's the Clarity Act. The House passes the Clarity Act to finally define U.S. crypto rules. The House just passed the Clarity Act, a sweeping crypto bill that gives the SEC and the CFTC clear control over what counts as a security versus a commodity. The bill introduces new rules for exchanges, brokers, and token projects, including custody, AML compliance, and a $75 million safe harbor window for smaller issuers. It also lets certain blockchains, these are all words that you're going to have to learn what they mean because you're going to hear them a lot. It involves a complete new infrastructure of currency. Complete. Blockchain certified as mature and limits federal oversight if they meet strict decentralization standards. Most notably, it enshrines Americans' right. This is huge. This enshrines Americans' right to self-custody crypto and overrides any conflicting state laws for national consistency. Next stop, the Senate, where its fate remains uncertain, but it'll probably get done. The other one will to be signed tomorrow. President Trump will actually sign that into law. So there's all kinds of stuff going on with the crypto market, and it's absolutely just insane. Hopefully this one here can give you a little bit more insight as well.
Joins us now. She's the president of the Solana Policy Institute. Kristen, great to have you with us. I believe, according to the notes, that you think the Genius Act is going to be the most important for the crypto industry. Why is that?
Yeah, well, I think that the first two bills you mentioned, the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, are both incredibly important for the crypto industry. What's really exciting about the Genius Act is that bill now goes to the president's desk. So this is the first time that we have a new regulatory framework for part of the crypto industry getting signed into law. The president is hosting a signing ceremony at the White House tomorrow. And so by the end of the week, the Genius Act will be the law of the land. The Clarity Act is also incredibly important. That now moves on to the Senate. But I think what's really remarkable, and I was actually up in the Capitol, up in the gallery watching the votes earlier today, is both of these votes got a tremendous amount of bipartisan support. The Clarity Act had 294 positive votes, and there were 308 for the Genius Act. So this is about as bipartisan as an issue gets. And I think it shows that Americans love crypto, and they're excited that Washington is responding and putting the framework in place.
We're just showing a graphic with your predictions in terms of how much this industry, which is currently 250 billion stable coins, that is 250 billion, will grow to 2 trillion in the next few years, Kristen. And does that assume the Genius Act becomes, the Genius Act becomes law? Or is there an additional expansion because of the passage of this?
Okay, wait a second, back up. She just went really quick past that, saying, oh, yeah, over the next couple of years, we will see a $2 trillion market for crypto. It is. You know that rocket ship President Trump has been talking about? You know how he's been saying all these things are happening? Well, now they've happened. The one of the big ones. The next one is the interest rates. This is absolutely huge. Get a seatbelt. Do whatever you need to do. Let other people worried about that, that guy. And start focusing on what's going to make your life so much better. Let me just give you an idea in terms of like how much this means and what President Trump is going to be doing. Trump is preparing to open, now look at the numbers here. He's going to be opening the $9 trillion U.S. retirement market to Bitcoin and crypto investments. Let that sink in. That is absolutely insane. Good insane. Wow. It says President Trump's administration has indeed moved to somebody checked it with Perplexity, which I've been telling you about checking with Perplexity. It's like Grok's big sister or little sister, however you want to use it. And it says the headline posts going around are mostly accurate. President Trump's administration has indeed moved to reverse prior restrictions, allowing 401k retirement plans to invest in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, as well as a range of other private assets. It's important to note, though, that this policy shift does not force 401k plans to add crypto, but instead makes it possible as an option. And the Department of Labor has taken a neutral stance rather than openly endorsing the crypto investment. That's for now. Employers and retirement plan administrators can now include crypto as an option, but there are still significant hurdles like cost, risk, and regulatory uncertainty, so it may take some time before you start seeing crypto options widely available in retirement accounts. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because it's not probably going to be available in your 401k tomorrow, which is okay. It gives you now time to begin doing your research and understanding what your options are, how much you can shift into crypto, how much you can do here and there, how much you can put in gold, how much you can put in silver. You now have the time. This thing gets signed tomorrow. The other one may get signed on Monday or Tuesday. But as these things are getting signed, there's going to be a little bit of an implementation period where people are going to have to, all right, what are we doing here? How's this going to work? They're going to have to do all that kind of stuff once it becomes law. But once he signs it, it is the law of the land. So there's no more if, when, how. Now the only thing that's left is for you to get yourself up to speed so that you can understand what you need to do and how it might be beneficial in your 401k or in your everyday life, just if you're not retired, or if you are retired, what you can do. You've seen people in here already who have done and dabbled in XRP with even small amounts and have seen huge returns. I understand, I'm not sure what the price of Bitcoin is today. I'm sure there's somebody who can answer, but last time I checked, I don't know, it was 110 or 120, 120,000 for a Bitcoin. You can buy very small increments of Bitcoin. And you know how when I talk about Lear Capital and I think they've got $1,000 minimum, Bitcoin can be bought in much smaller chunks. So you can test and you can see what a wallet is. How do you use it? How is it basically, I won't say secret, but understanding how it's transacted, how you can send people money, how they can receive it, how you can receive it. I said a whole lot there in just the first 16 minutes, and now it's on you. You are going to have to, well, you don't have to, you can ignore it and pretend it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's not for me. Okay, not going to push anybody. I will never push anybody here. That's not my style. My thing is I need to bring this information to you, and at this point help you to get your legs under you so you can understand where the puck is going. It's there. I mean, it's sharpen the skates and get going. This is an opportunity that you don't normally see in lifetimes because it's completely new and now it's regulated by the government. You should feel a good amount of safety. The only thing that won't make you safe is lack of knowledge. And don't get scammed buying any courses or anything like that. There's too much stuff out there. Like this site that I'm on right now. I mean, this profile that I'm on right now is a site that you can get information. It's Bitcoin Magazine. It has 3.7 million followers, and they put out content specifically. They've got webinars and talks and different people, and it's real, people. It's real. Now it's just a matter of what are you going to do to begin learning how to use it, because it's here.
We've seen tremendous growth in stablecoins over the past 4 or 5 years, despite having a fairly hostile regulatory environment. A lot of that has been overseas. So I think that these, predictions, and these aren't my predictions. This I got from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, is the one who made this prediction of the $2 trillion market by 2028. This is the framework is in place, and this allows traditional finance, traditional payments companies to look at stablecoin solutions as they're upgrading their financial infrastructure. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. We've seen some of the big banks are interested in this. The payments companies are interested in this. And so
All right, so as she's talking, and understand, this is where it gets very confusing because everybody in this business thinks you know what they're talking about. And so they talk really fast. We're going to do this with the stable coin and the payment processor. Hey, slow down. What's going on here? And so basically what she's saying is the way you pay your bills, your light bill, your electric bill, your water, your cable, your credit card company are going to be scrambling now to try and figure out how they can accept crypto in order for you to do transactions. And so these are all the things they have to learn. So while they're learning and implementing and doing everything they need to do to bring things up to speed, this is going to give you some time to begin talking to people and looking. What's funny is, I said this months ago, before the election. That's how far ago, 7 or 8 months ago. And we brought a couple guys on and talked about Bitcoin and crypto. And the chat was like, oh, why are you talking about this stuff? Oh, I'm not interested in it. Oh, it's a scam. And I'm like, this poor guy was here trying to help you and give you information. I'd have to look it up. It was probably 8 months ago. And it came on twice. And people railed on it. People were just in the chat just being vicious. Oh, this is a scam. Nobody's going to... And here we are. I was trying to show you where the puck was going, and now the puck is sitting in front of you, getting ready to get hit and move again. I can ask Ashley to bring that guy back, and we can do it, or you guys can go back and check it out. Maybe I can just go ahead and download it and put it back up here. But I was trying to get, acclimate people to what was going to be happening. And now it's here. And it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep moving.
Now that this rule is in place, this law is in place, or will be as of tomorrow afternoon, I think that it's really off to the races for the markets, competitive companies to do their jobs. And I think it's a real opportunity, and one that ultimately will benefit businesses and consumers alike.
How much alike? And I'm just wondering, because it seems like the first use case, as one would imagine, for stablecoin is for trade in some way. I mean, it's faster. It'll be immediately settled. There's no sort of overhang, and so that seems like the obvious use case. In terms of consumers, are we going to be creating all these different ecosystems where every retailer, every business has their own stablecoin, and that's how you transact?
Well,
that seems very
that's
inconvenient.
Yeah, no, I think that's the big question. I mean, obviously having interoperability is very good. There are a couple of major issuers of stablecoin.
So she's going through this, and as you can see, they're putting up, this is from CNBC, they're showing you the pricing and everything. At the time that they put this on, well, here, let me run it a little bit further so it shows up. So at the time they were doing this, it was at $120,000 for a single Bitcoin. And then you can see the others down below behind it. So there's all kinds of different coins as well. And you're going to see more and more people trying to put out coins. Be careful with that kind of stuff. And then you're going to find out people are going to be, Bitcoin mining even bigger, which needs a whole lot of electricity. You think those data centers need electricity. Wait till you start seeing people talk about Bitcoin mining. So this thing can get huge. And if everything I just said and what she has said leaves you looking here going, I have no idea what the hell is going on. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you're on your training wheels, now is the time to begin doing your homework. Forget all that Epstein crap. Forget all this stuff. Start honing in and learning what the heck is going on. If everything around you is about to change, the way you pay your bills, the way you transact, and what she was talking about, there being no lag between payments. Right now, if you do an ACH and you pay by a check, it's got to go through a clearinghouse, and it's got to go over here, and then it's got to get transferred, and then eventually it might hit your bank. Whereas if what's going to be happening is if you pay your light bill, your FPL, whatever, down here it's FPL, boom, done. No clearinghouses, not waiting a day, 2 days for things to hit. Either way, it's going to be immediate. I told you stories. I had a graphic designer who lived in Brussels, and if I needed something done, boom, just never had to leave the house. Bam, he would get it. So that's what's coming.
Issued on multiple different chains, including Solana. And so I think, how the marketplace plays out is sort of beyond my level of prediction. But what I know is that, blockchains like Solana, for example, are very fast financial rails. And what we can do is when you put these assets on there, you can trade, as you mentioned, in you can send money around the world, you can settle trades instantly. There are a lot of benefits to it, and I think it'll be really interesting to see the way different companies incorporate this. But I think for the end user and consumer, they want something easy and convenient, and so I think those solutions that meet what the consumer wants are going to be those that are the most.
Yep. It's funny. I'm looking at a couple of comments. Barry's right. It's inevitable. And understand, I don't have all the answers. I'm reaching out to people. I am on the same, maybe my training wheels are bigger. Maybe I'm a little bit further on the track than you, but I am by no means a crypto expert. I would never hold myself out to being, yeah, I know crypto. Nope, I'm forcing myself to learn it. I'm showing Robin, hey, we need to find out what this is all about. How do we dig deeper? How do we begin making sure that, hey, we also know an attorney who transacts real estate. You can buy a house with crypto. So imagine you go to sell your home and somebody goes, yeah, I can do it with crypto. Let me go ahead and just send what do you want? 300,000? Okay, that's going to be 3 coins, and I'm going to send it to your title agent or your lawyer right now. Bam. And I kicked myself because I had the opportunity, like just every single one of you, I had the opportunity years ago to buy Bitcoin when I first heard about it. It had already advanced. There were people who got it for really cheap. I had a chance to get in when it was like $600-700, and I'm like, I'm not buying that Bitcoin. Until I could eat with a Bitcoin, I'm not buying that Bitcoin. I would kick myself every single day. That $600 Bitcoin a few years ago is now worth $120,000. Where's it going to go from here? I don't know. People are talking some serious numbers. I can't even begin to fathom them. But the one thing that you can count on is when you see stuff like what President Trump is doing and how he's going to be putting $9 trillion trying to make the United States the Bitcoin capital of the world. That should tell you everything you need to know. Get going. Get busy living. You got to do it. Or just get left behind. Either way, it's up to you. I'm just trying to encourage people. It's going to be a veritable digital rush. I can't say gold rush because it's not gold. So it's just another thing. And don't go pushing all your chips in on it. Don't do that. I will tell you that. And the only thing I will tell you tonight to do is to don't push all your chips in. Diversify. Have some here, have some there, just in case something goes kind of, wonky. So let me take a few comments here. What happens to cash money? You know what happens. You know exactly what happens. There probably won't be cash money. Now, before you start with the whole mark of the beast thing, this isn't that. Just because there's no cash money doesn't mean there's no currency. A Bitcoin will become currency. Gold is becoming currency. So there's nothing on the back of your hand that you're going to wave or anything like that. So there's no mark of the beast to it. There's just different kinds of currencies. It's just changing. They're taking a penny out of the market right now. They're in the process, so things are going to change in the way we transact business. I'd like to go into this subject, just not my thing to talk about it. I understand that. I understand right now it has a lot of apprehension because it's complicated, but the last part of what you say here is just not my thing. It is your thing. See, that's, I think, the most important aspect of this to understand is that this is going to affect you whether you decide to get your feet wet in it or not. See, you don't have a choice. This is where we're going in terms of currency and transactions. And so I would implore you to begin researching and understanding it, because everything from your 401ks, as you just saw, to go into the grocery store. I don't know how far it's going to be in terms of how long it's going to take, but it's going to get there. It's going to get there pretty quick because now people have an incentive to do it. It's a law. Once the law is passed, that's where you're really going to start seeing, when it got passed, when it gets signed tomorrow, everybody tonight is making plans. There are boardrooms going, okay, what do we got to do to make sure we can get this done? It's not an if. You can't turn away from it. Hopefully long ways down the road. How are they going to give change back out of a gold piece? Other gold? Silver? Credit back to your Bitcoin account or your crypto account? I love this. Rich people have money. Wealthy people have assets. Sandy goes, I'm a total cash person also. Can I tell you that you used to be a cash person? You're a cash person today, but you're not going to be in the future. Cash is this is brilliant news for crypto. See, I can tell by a lot of what people are saying in the chat that it's so unknown, it's terrifying, they don't get it. If there's anything I can impart on you, anything at all, is you no longer have a choice not to pay attention, not to learn. You know, when we were kids, our parents said, here's $1, and you could go to the store and get some candy, and with this dollar bill, you're going to be able to give the man something, he's going to hand it back to you. And we learned the benefit of understanding what cash was. And then we also opened up bank accounts, and we learned how to transact. I just opened, as you guys know, a checking account for my grandson, and I would venture to say, Ashley would have to double, I don't think he's using cash at all. I'm pretty sure when he goes to McDonald's or he goes to Chick-fil-A or he goes to a sporting goods store, swipe. Just like most kids can't recognize how to use a phone. Remember the phone that your grandma had where it had the rotary thing on it? Most kids today would never know what to do with it. They would just stand there and, what is that thing? That's a telephone. No telephone I've ever used, because they never have. So we are basically in the rotary dial of currency. I'm no different than you are. This is how we know what a rotary is. We did all that. But then we had to learn how to push buttons in. Remember that? We all learned how to push buttons to make a call. And now how do you make a call? Think about it. You may not be like Robin because she's so good with it. But if Robin needs to make a call, hey, dial hubby. She's not using any fingers. Dial my doctor. Dial my sister. Which one? This one. Okay, dial this person. We don't even dial anymore. In a span of time since you and I have gone from rotary dial phones to having sisters and other people go answer the phone that was attached to the wall. You remember that? We didn't, the phone, there's a long cord. We can actually bring the phone to the couch? That's flipping amazing. And now we don't even have to dial. Yeah, call the garage. Yeah, bring my car around. The technology is changing so fast, you don't have a choice. It's just not going to be like you want it to be or how it used to be. It is what it's going to be. Embrace it. Marcus says, no one can stop what is coming. Nope. Let's see here. Hey Siri, call Barry. Yeah. Oh man, we had a super long cord. Yeah, us too. It went all the way around into the dining room and everything. Yep, that's funny. So true. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, we can't even remember phone numbers now. Yeah, I've had people say, "Hey, what's your wife's number?" No, her number's Robin. that's the number. Hey, can you call Robin? Yeah, I don't even put it in anymore. Surprised it didn't just try to call. Oh, you are already using XRP, regardless if you know it or not. Your banks will not tell you because they are adapting it or they will die. Ooh. See, I don't even know that. Mark is dropping some science on you here. Oh boy. Let's see. Good evening. We don't even remember phone numbers. Avoid financial planners by all means. That's possible. Just know somebody. Yeah. How often do you? Okay. I've told people about going out to dinner and stuff here, and one of the most times I get yelled at this point is certain restaurants. Everybody valets. There's no chance you won't go to a restaurant that has valet. But some of them don't have card readers, and you have to have cash. And so we actually have to go to the 7-Eleven and get cash just so we can give it to the valet guy. So now I got smart. Where is it? Now I got smart, and I keep a couple fives. Oh, actually, there's 1 5 left. A 5 here, just so when we go to dinner, I can hand the valet guy, and I've got a couple extra singles to go along with it, so I don't look like a real cheapskate when I go to the valet stand. 5. Damn, bro, time's tough. I'm like, damn, man, this is supposed to be complimentary. I didn't know I was gonna give you $10 to park the car. Because hey, thank you, sir. Cheap ass. Oh my goodness. Kids don't even know what a vinyl record is. They were shocked. How about showing them an 8-track? So you want to really freak a kid out. Hey, look at this thing. What is that? It's got like 12 songs on it. 12? Yeah. You guys only used to have 12 songs at a time? No, we just had a whole big box of these things we used to lug around. And they laugh. Because your phone carries like 1,000 MP3s. It's funny, but it's true. It's true. All right, so that being said, let's get on to the next section. Because I love this next section. This is a good one. And then, wow, that's almost 8:15 already. At 8:30, we have to jump over to Rumble, and I didn't do the link yet, so hold on. But anyway, let's keep going because this one's important. Oops. That was my fault.
This is Alcatraz is the brand known around the world for being effective at housing people that are in incarceration, and so this is something that we're here to take a look at. It's a federal property. Its original use was a prison, and so part of this would be to test the feasibility about returning it back to its original use.
The Attorney General and Interior Secretary are expected to announce plans to officially reopen it as a federal prison.
A plane with the markings United States of America is in the Bay Area and arrived Wednesday evening with an entourage of officials. In fact, there was a police-led motorcade that came with it. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum will be at Alcatraz Thursday to announce plans to reopen the island's federal penitentiary. In a state.
All right, so I had talked to Sheriff Chad Bianco about 2 weeks ago, and I brought it up to him. I'm like, hey, what do you think about opening Alcatraz? And of course, even a sheriff, was like, no, they would never do that. And here we are a couple weeks later, and damn if they aren't doing it, or at least they're going to try and do it. It's amazing.
Pelosi called it the Trump administration's stupidest initiative yet, saying, quote, it should concern us all that clearly the only intellectual resources the administration has drawn upon for this foolish notion are decades-old fictional Hollywood movies, end quote. President Trump recently talked about renderings of a new facility. He first proposed the reopening in May and said this shortly after.
It's a symbol of law and order.
Here's ABC 7 News insider Phil Mateer.
He wants to make a statement about being tough on crime. He said Alcatraz worked in its day. It's time to bring it back in order to counter urban crime. But this, make no mistake, this is a photo op. This is a publicity stunt. This is a tour in order to capture the image of them in San Francisco on Alcatraz, declaring that Donald Trump is tough on crime, so tough that he's going to reopen the Rock.
California.
You see, they're terrified. The problem that they're having is the liberals and their fifis are all hurt. They don't know what to do. Like, oh my goodness, he can't do this, can he? He can't come into our backyard and snatch people off the street and put them in Alcatraz, can he? Yes. Yes, he can. And yes, he will if he can make this work. I'm going to show you the budgetary stuff. SV went and looked it up for me, but this could be viable.
Governor Gavin Newsom's press office issued a statement saying Pam Bondi will reopen Alcatraz the same day Trump lets her release the Epstein files. So, never. Alcatraz currently generates about $60 million in annual revenue, according to the National Park Service. Refurbishing the island and building a new prison would cost at least $250 million, according to estimates.
President Trump making good on a promise to reopen Alcatraz, the notorious prison in the San Francisco Bay. This morning, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and the Interior Secretary, Doug Burgum, are going to be making a stop on the island, expected to also deliver an announcement. Alcatraz once housed some of the most infamous criminals in the country, including gangster Al Capone. The prison shut down more than 60 years ago and is protected from development as part of a national park. However, Congress could pass new legislation to change that.
All right, so that's the key right there. See, people even in our chat were like, you can't do it because it's a protected national park, but they left out the part that Congress could change it. So right now, with a 53-47 lead in the Senate and then a slim lead in the House, it could happen. And here's why it should happen. I would not, if I was in Congress, vote against this because this dilapidated structure that people just walk around right now could be renovated, not say rebuilt, cheaper than it costs right now to build a new prison. Thanks to SV and Grok, let me find this for you. All right, so here, this was very interesting. I want you to stick with me here, okay? Secretary Burgum says, spent the day on Alcatraz Island, a National Park Service site, to start to work to renovate and reopen the site to house the most dangerous criminals and newcomers, which has got these people just completely discombobulated. The administration is restoring safety, justice, and order to our streets. The Interior, the Justice Department are following a directive by POTUS to help lead that mission. All right, so somebody thought they were going to be a smart, but you know what? I almost said the word. Somebody thought they were going to get all smart here, and this guy, Benny, no relation, Benny, hey, Grok, what is the estimated cost to renovate Alcatraz Island? What is the estimated yearly cost to operate Alcatraz Island? And who will eat the yearly cost? So I'm going to show you what Grok came back and said, which is going to destroy what you're going to hear Nancy Pelosi say. Because, here you go. You ready for this one? Based on expert estimates, renovating Alcatraz for prison use could cost $235 million to $370 million up front. Annual operating costs are expected or projected at $40 to $75 million, far higher than mainland prisons due to isolation. U.S. taxpayers will bear these via federal funding from Interior and Justice Department. All right, so now it sounds like it's way too expensive, right? Remember those key numbers. $235 to $370 up front, and then $40 to $75 million per year. This guy wasn't done. He goes, what would the estimated cost to build a new prison on the mainland? Well, based on current federal projects, $500 million, which is a lot more than 235 to 370. It goes on to say building a new mainland prison costs between $400 to $600 million, almost twice what it would cost to renovate Alcatraz. Annual operating costs average $44,000 per inmate, or 50 to 70 million for a similar facility, lower than Alcatraz due to reduced isolation expenses, 50 to 70 million, and up here they've got 40 to 75. So he's talking about a small percentage, and by the way, those are people who don't have Donald Trump's ability to come in under budget on projects. So when you look at side by side, it is extremely viable. I would not have thought that myself. I would have thought, wow, this dilapidated structure is going to be way too much to bring current, up to code. You think it's bad trying to navigate alligators down here? Go ahead and navigate the wind, the cliff, and the sharks out there. Oh, man. These people are going to be even more self-deporting after they hear this stuff. But here's Nancy.
The Trump administration is moving ahead with plans to reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison, an idea some critics have dismissed as impossible, in part because of how expensive it would be to repair and retrofit as a complex that, frankly, was so run down that they closed it, and so expensive to operate.
You see how they lie right off the bat? So this is where they're going to go with it. Now you understand. You just saw the numbers, and now you're hearing the media come in and say, oh, it's so expensive. It's so crazy. They don't want to tell you that it's extremely comparable to doing any other kind of prison. In other words, they're lying again.
Operate. 60 years ago, they closed its doors. My next guest is among those critics, Democratic Congresswoman and Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. Alcatraz is part of her district in San Francisco. It's so good to see you. And before we even get to the politics of this, Madam Speaker, so what's wrong with using a site that already exists?
What's wrong with using a site that 60 years ago was shut down because it was too expensive to run as a prison, that since then has had to meet environmental standards to be part of the National Park Service, the GG Golden Gate National Recreation Area. What's wrong with it is it's costing a fortune to bring it back to being a real prison. Right now it's a tourist attraction, which has been a venue for art and community events, something that this administration doesn't appreciate, obviously, and of course the environmental concerns of no concern of theirs. But the fact is, I've said this is not only stupid, with stiff competition, one of the stupidest initiative put forth by this administration.
So as she was saying the things that make this bad, did she tell you anything that was insurmountable? If she's making it all about cost, you're going to lose that argument, Nancy, because the way Trump is going to frame this is if your argument is cost, so if I make it cheaper, it's okay. See, I could bust your argument at that point. How much cheaper does it need to be to, pass muster with you? Because now if it's just dollars, it's easy. Oh, by the way, I already got the money. You see, the big, beautiful bill gave DHS about $150 billion. So they've already got the money. They don't even need to go back to Congress and ask for it. The only thing they have to go to Congress for is to just make sure that they can get the approval to use this because it's a protected facility. So unless there's a couple rhinos in there that don't want a better prison on Alcatraz, why would you say no? You know why the libs don't want it.
A fortune at the same time as they're taking food out of the mouths of babies, at the same time they're kicking millions of people out of health care, on the same day that we're voting to do tragic things in terms of our relationships with other countries and stopping.
What the hell does that have to do with a prison? Our relationship with other countries and taking food out of babies' mouth. You're not making any sense. Go have another drink. You can't negotiate in that way, shape, or fashion. You're showing yourself to be a complete nut job. Hey, listen, what's your problem here? I can't negotiate with you if you don't tell me specifically what your problem is. It's not a matter of money. I already got that approved. Take that off the table. Not asking you for any money. And see, that's where the problem is at this point, is that they can't stop him. So what are they going to, and you definitely can't go out there and protest. So they're going to complain on television and say it again, but obviously Trump beat him again. He got the money. They didn't think, even Sheriff Bianco didn't think that he would do it, and he's doing it. If he can make the numbers work, he's going to go for it. He's going to get one of these senators or Congress people to go ahead and propose the bill, and let's get it going. Let's get working out there. And now, even if he doesn't, even more people now are going to be looking at this going, OMG, he's going to put people back at Alcatraz? The stuff where movies were made? Oh, they're going to be crying.
Disease from coming into our own country, that they would be doing this. They just added a few $1 trillion to the national debt to get a tax cut to the richest people in America. And now they're going to, and they did this taking money out of health care and food and nutrition and all the rest of that. And now they're going to spend money on this foolish idea. It will never happen.
Why? You tell me, was there anything in what she just said that tells you it can't happen? Because I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything at all. Nothing that says why it can't happen. It's just more whining. I'm trying to cue up the next story. More whining, more kvetching, gnashing of teeth, wailing, all that kind of stuff. Insane. All right, so let me take a few comments. So I'm getting ready to jump over to Rumble. We're not going to be doing music tonight because I have a guest tonight. And I have never spoken to this guy. He's supposed to come up on 8:30. And I know I told you guys earlier that I'm done talking about Epstein. But he's got a different slant, and I want to bring him on and let you hear what he has to say in that regard, because it might be kind of interesting. Might be kind of interesting what he has to say as a former Marine. And again, the guy is Alpha Warrior. We're going to talk to him when we do the jump over. I've got a lot of stuff to go over with something he wrote, and then we'll play a video. But before we do that, let me go ahead and tell you about, one of our partners here is doing something crazy, and some of you guys are like, I'm not interested in it, but some of you might. Because you know how sometimes you see something and you think, okay, I need those in my life, like yesterday. That was me when I first came across these. The Trump Never Surrender gold sneakers. These just aren't shoes. They're full-on badass statement. They're bold. My grandson fell in love with them when he came down. They're fearless. They're unapologetically patriotic. And look at them. The gold finish. The red, white, and blue. The red, white, and blue accents. Pretty cool, aren't they? Just like wearing a piece of American pride right on your feet. And let me tell you, they don't just look good, they feel good as well. The quality is legit, comfortable, durable, and surprisingly lightweight. These kicks aren't sitting in the back of a closet gathering dust. You'll actually want to wear them out. And they definitely make people notice. Oh man, some of them don't even notice the T on the side there. But it's definitely a Trump sneaker. Show them off, maybe even start a few conversations. What I love the most is the message they send, which is never surrender. It's a mindset. Whether you're out making moves or just walking into the weekend, these sneakers, and I hate to call them sneakers, I call them shoes, are a reminder to stand strong and to never back down. They've also become a favorite gift. So like I said, I've gifted a pair to my grandson. I mean, we all know someone who would love these, especially if they're a big Trump supporter, or a collector, or just someone who rocks bold style. Here's the best part. Each pair is a part of a limited run, so you're not getting some mass-produced junk. Pretty cool. Nice sole. Yeah. My dog tried to chew on it. I wanted to kill it. I'm like, no, Billy, stay away from the sneakers. So if this sounds like your vibe, or if you're already picturing someone in your life who'd flip for these, go check them out. Here at the Fanfare family, you get a special discount at themagaoffers.com. themagaoffers.com/Barry. That's HTTPS. the TheMagaOffers.com, themagaoffers.com. And you can pick these up. So just use that link right now, and you can get 15% off your order. But don't wait too long. They're going fast. Own a piece of the movement and the new movement, and step into something legendary. So I see that. He's here. He's here. He's already checked in. So he caught me by surprise. I'm like, hey, you ain't supposed to be up here yet. So Alfredo is here. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do the jump over now over to Rumble, because we're going to be talking about some heavy stuff. Where's my Rumble jump over link here? There you go. So you guys can meet me over there in a second. Oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, Alfredo, you got to hold on a second. I forgot to read Super Chats, and I'm sure SB was going to ding me real quick and say, hey, man, you forgot him this afternoon. Yeah, okay. Let me get these ready so I can talk to you guys. All right. Ooh, yeah, I almost... Not a whole bunch, but I would hate to have missed anybody because my exuberance, I was moving too fast. All right, hold on. Let me get these up on the screen here. Where am I? All right, move this window over here and go over here. All right. Dave the Patriot. Barry, I have 2K to blow on crypto. Tell me where. I'm sorry, Dave. I am not well versed enough to give people investment advice. What I will do, though, is put you in touch with somebody who is. Diamond G. I remember my dad firing up our first desktop computer. Exactly. Dave Rattan. In Canada, the government is pushing for digital currency, no cash. The plan is to control spending. If you're buying things they don't like, including cars, gold, silver, they freeze or seize your account, which is what the law today was meant to avoid. They can't do it to you down here. Barry, please repost the crypto video. All right, you know what I'll do? I'll show it tomorrow. I'll go ahead and download it, and we'll go over it. Joshua says, no issues with Bitcoin, just leave my cash alone. I can't promise you that, brother. I can't promise you that they're going to leave your cash alone. All right, so we're going to do the jump right now. Let me go ahead and play the break, and I'll see you over on Rumble.